again for joining me. When you coming in the door, hit the subscribe button if you're brand new and the like button. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Let's move it over.
What's up, Jit? Like, what you been on? Like,
25, you know. Rappers come in.
Ain't no woody woo, you know what I'm saying?
Winter, fall, spring, summer, and all. You got a choice, stay in the house or you can hop off the porch. My mom was only 15, lucky she ain't aboard. I'm from the south side of North, but still show love to the north. Talk to 280, the number blocks, pen it in court.
Alright, I'm going to give a quick sound check. I'm going to give a quick sound check and make sure everything is good. Make sure I got sound coming through. See what the sound is sounding like on the stream. Ladies and gentlemen, pardon me 1 second. This is kind of like impromptu. This next time I know to make sure I have. Oh, my camera? Nah, but it's still even then. Oh, I found it. My camera was picking up the audio. My camera was picking up my audio. I found it. I bet that was it. Oh, my camera? Nah, but it's still even then. Oh, I found it. My camera was picking up the audio. Yeah! Yeah! Yeah, boy! Yeah! Yeah! There we go. I got it. I found it. I found it. Yeah. Oh, man. I'm so sorry, y'all. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Yeah. Do you know the struggle I just went through right here? I sat here this long looking at this shit. I found it. God dang. Man. Bruh. Once again, man, thank y'all for joining me this morning. Good morning to everybody. And thank you, those of you that sat through that uncomfortable ass, long ass moment of silence trying to fix the audio. Oh my gosh. Shout out to DJ Destiny 22 joining me on POF. I had to take a look here. Okay. Shout out to DJ Destiny shouting me out on POF or joining me on POF. I am finally got the situation straightened out. Finally got the situation straightened out. I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. And Sockpot said, yo, man, I appreciate you for riding through that with me while I was working through the kinks of the motherfucker. Working out all the kinks in this bed. Thinking I was meat. Bruh. But I'm glad I got it. I'm glad we got that straightened out right now. We got that straightened out right now. We good. Yes. All right. And also who here? Yeah, I got it. Yeah, it's even better. Now I found out the issue. My camera, I'm using a DSLR camera. Regular snap and shoot camera. The audio out the camera was picking up So I'm like, why is my microphone muted? I literally had it muted. Why is my audio? Y'all can still hear me on YouTube, but they can't hear me on Twitch, so on and so forth. Because the stream from YouTube is directly connected to my camera. And then we're going to get all to that technical shit. But the audio was still being recorded from my camera. And I caught it. And we good now. What up, Shroom Shaker? Thank you. So now let's kick it off and get into the main focus of what here we were going to focus on. I wanted to speak on a little bit about the homelessness crisis that is going on currently in not just America, but a famous area of Los Angeles called Skid Row. This issue is not a new issue that we have here. We can't pinpoint it to one administration per se, but in a way we can, because I was able to find some information about the start. Yes, Sock, I found it. It was my camera. So now what I found, the information that I was looking up about Skid Row and the starts of Skid Row was going back to the times of when they were building a railroad system through California. The information I have here on the side is exactly what they were trying to connect different parts of California through a rail system. So, but not to just harp on the negatives of the situation. And let me mute because I'm listening to Bomb and them in their chat too, because I'm co-hosting over there. Let me mute them in my ear because I keep hearing Koja talking. Thank you. Distracting me. Yes. So I wanted to give people their flowers while they're still here. But unfortunately, one of the gentlemen that I wanted to reference today, Mr. Jeff Page, aka Mr. General Page, who was a community activist in Los Angeles in the Skid Row section of Los Angeles, has passed away recently. But Miss Shirley Raines, she's still alive and well and kicking. And she is one of CNN's 2021 People of the Year. And I have some info on both of these people. We're going to go dive into it and take a look real quick.
Because I know people think child support is menial and vindictive. But go ahead.
And yeah.
Well, in some cases, family
and
court
I
is
will always
it
love
accommodates
you.
the vindictiveness of the
And I
the
will
custodial
always
like a lot of times.
Yeah,
love
if
you.
the custodial parent in most
That ain't
cases
it.
what just happened.
Wrong one. Yep.
If they're vindictive, they just bring that to the court.
When
The court
it
will
feels
react.
good.
For the most
It feels good
Not
to
favorable.
solve a problem.
What I tell
Find a
dudes all the
fix to
time, and some of the managers
feels
that
good.
complain about
feels good.
that
Yeah.
complain about child support, man. Even $1,000, man. Look, that's nothing.
It
Thank
feels
you.
good.
That's nothing on waking up
Yeah.
every day having to take care of a damn child.
Why is
It-
it
It was
I want
nothing
this
when I was
picture
paying
right here
$800
of Miss
for
Shirley.
pay period
I wanna
a
bring this
month
one.
for childcare.
You gonna give me
And
this?
on top of that, I was providing the health
Give me what I'm
insurance,
asking for.
which at that job
what I'm
was
asking for,
about
darn it.
$200 and some a month because I work for the state. So
That's
if
the
I'm
$1,000 right
paying
there.
Exactly what I'm asking for. I ain't
exactly,
asking
so
for a lot.
I'm
Give me
not
what
That's
I'm
not
asking
even
you.
including gas
Yeah.
money. Shit.
I'm not
Yeah.
asking you for something that
I
I'm
wanna be able
not
to show you.
already
I could-
paying. So
I
if
could do
you
it a
have the
different way, but I
ability to
wanna
kick
do it
in
from
what I'm
the
kicking in,
tab.
then that's all I was asking.
I want to share it from the tab.
Right.
And it ain't like it ain't had
I
no
got
receipt.
pulled up.
I had the
I
receipts
do
from the
agree
daycare.
that
You know what I'm
I
saying?
do agree that a
And
lot
Am I asking you too much?
some of that
No, I ain't
stuff
asking you to do
is
too much.
unfair.
They ain't asking too
You
much,
gotta
baby.
go
Work with me, baby.
25%, but for the most
Work with me,
part,
baby.
you only paying for the
Come on, baby.
part of the roof over your child head or the food that they would eat, if that.
I'm paying for
I might have to
if
delete
I
the
didn't
joint.
have my daughter, have to have my
you telling
daughter
me I gotta
on my
get rid of you?
insurance.
That's
My
not what I
insurance
do.
will be
You telling me I gotta get rid
$150
of
a
you?
month instead of $600 and some dollars a month. It's $320 per payday.
Gotta get
I will
rid
be
of you.
paying about $75 a payday for just myself.
Add a new one.
Right. And say I pay about almost
I
150
really
to
don't
200 a
really
week for my daughter.
It really don't
And
That's
so
800
$150 to $200 a week. That's
Oh.
almost $800 a month. That's $600
That's
to
just for-
$800 a month.
Yeah, that's just for
Yeah.
the sitter.
This
That's
is
not
all
food.
live
That's
and-
not roof over the
Yeah.
head
This
or
is all
anything like
live
that.
on the spot, baby.
So I think I try to tell a lot of brothers, listen,
No,
bro, and I
they
try
really
to
don't wanna
factor
show
them
it.
in what they don't know
Mm-mm.
as far as what it costs for a child.
If it
Because
ain't
if you're not in the house with a child, you don't know what it costs. Just
Exactly.
the basic costs, you know.
School lunch for
Don't
one
worry.
child, I
We
think
gonna
it's
fix it.
almost
We
$3.
gonna
My
figure
daughter
it
ain't been
out.
in school in 2 years, but it's almost $3. $3 a week, and that's if they don't get
Can't do
no
it like
extra
that.
snipes or nothing. That's $15 a week. That's $60-something a month.
But see, we have to understand that sometimes there are sociopaths that don't make the connection that a child has to have their existence funded. You know, they just think they're puppies that are just going to raise
we go.
themselves or something.
There
And
we
a
go.
child costs money.
There we go.
A child a child costs money.
If you
Okay,
don't want to
a child needs
cooperate, I will
resources
find a way.
and at the
Don't wanna
very least
cooperate, I will find a way.
resources.
This is
Now
real
everything
janky. This is some
additional,
real
you know, regarding
Negro rig shit
activities
here
and
on the
things that
spot. But if you don't
develop
want to
how
cooperate,
they
we
are
will
to
find a
become
way
as,
and we will work around
you know,
it.
adults. That
Yes, we
takes
will.
funding as well. And a
Yes,
lot of
we
people
will.
who are sociopaths,
Where there
they
is a
just
will, where
they
there is
just
a
use
will,
the
there is a
excuse
Jada.
that
Where
children
there's a
are
will, there is
resilient
a
and they
Jada.
keep it pushing. And
Straight
that's why they
jacket.
have that fucking attitude. They have this
Oh,
attitude
All
that
right.
because children are resistant and basically can raise themselves,
Where there's
all
a
they
will,
need
there's a
is
Jada.
food, clothing, and shelter. And it
they
takes more than that.
can have
And
3 meals
because
in a
they're
Where
pot.
there's a
responsible
will,
for
there's
their
a Jada.
child's
I know that's right.
existence,
Boom.
they are
So,
obligated to contribute. And that's what it
speaking
is.
of
But a
the
sociopath
historic
doesn't look at
skit,
it like
bro,
that. It's
what
like,
we got?
look,
Right. And see, some
can't you
dudes I had
handle
to
it?
break it down. I was like, dude,
Where
you
we
coming out
at?
cheaper, paying child support. You paying $650 a month. Your
They always come
your
out
kid
cheaper.
can. If you just let's just say you just bought groceries for your child,
No.
it's gonna
It's
cost
giving
about
me
$600 a
everything
month,
except
man.
the
Just
tab
feel
that I
like
want.
this instead of
That's
taking the
crazy.
attitude of what the woman doing or you got to pay or
Why
what
is it
she
doing
doing.
that?
Just
It's giving
say,
me
just take the
everything
attitude. Well,
except the
I pay
tab
for
that
my
I
kid
want.
to eat, and just take it like that and move on and just focus on being a good father.
And they don't even take in
That is
consideration
interesting.
the
Very interesting.
emotional exhaust, because when you
Yeah, I see
have
what
to
happened.
be the custodial parent
Everything is connected to that tab.
by
Okay.
yourself,
That's
that
crazy.
is
Who you
exhausting.
telling? You worry about your. There's
That's
no break
exhausting.
of worrying about your child.
It's a
You don't have. You don't
24/7
have a
job.
break, right? Even when I put on the bus to school, the concerns of safety with the school, picking her up from school, stuff like that, then snacks, then dinner, and we ain't even
Wow,
talking
really?
about the weekend. Yeah, so it never ends. There's never a
Right.
breaking
So
moment
the
in your.
non-custodial parent has the
Technology be a
luxury
bit, boy.
of just relying on the backup
Technology
that the
is a
custodial
bit.
parent is. It's
Mhm.
like because I'm not trying to say that the non-custodial parent doesn't care about their child. What
I
I'm
know
saying
somebody
is
can relate.
that it's not
Technology be a
They're the
It's
fun
not-
parent.
boy.
They're the fun parent.
right.
They get to
It's
come
like
and
Do what it
they
want to
take
do, not what
they
you tell
take
it to
for
do.
granted that the custodial parent
Like,
is the
can
backup,
I get
and
some
they try to play it
cooperation,
off like
champ?
what you
Like,
complaining
for real.
about. It's like I'm complaining that
I'm
I'm
gonna leave this on
assigned to
mute
a
so I
24-hour
can see the
job
chat at least.
and you're not. You're not assigned to
Dang.
this
Right.
24-hour
A
job.
24-hour
I am.
job
Dang.
plus a
So
40-hour a week job.
I wanted to share something
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
I
plus
noticed. Again, like I
yes.
said, we're
you
speaking
can't
Plus the
Plus
even
40
option,
sleep.
hours.
yes.
You
Now,
can't
this what
even
I tell.
sleep
in
This
this
what I
deep with
tell
your
some of the
child in
young
the
brothers.
house.
section.
You
This
can't
how I
even
tell
have a
some of the
deep
young
sleep.
brothers, and you know, in my little young, me and my friends got a little young
Los
men's group.
Angeles,
I said, listen,
right?
man, you have the
San
opportunity
Pedro is one of the
to go get a little
more
second
well-known
part-time
streets in
job
that area.
and make
And
more
in
money.
that area,
If you're the sole parent or
did I pull
custodial
away too
parent,
fast?
I can't get a second job now. Sure, I got a CD, and I was
Yes, this
talking to
is
them.
about
I
the
said, I got
area
a
I was
CDL
at.
license. I could jump on the road in a second and just go on with my career and make
San
60,
Julian,
70,000
let's say
real
here's
quick
San Julian
and ball with
and
it, you know?
6.
And because I have no bills. But I can't do that with my daughter, so I have to switch
San
professions and
Pedro,
then alter my time around my child for the job I do.
around
That's
this
different.
corner right here.
You don't
But
have to worry
Kim,
about that.
I can't even sleep deep when
Let's
my
say we're
children
gonna
are.
take a
You
look in
get
this
a
little area
modified
just
sleep because
right
you
here.
still
And we're
always
gonna
got
go
your
take
I
a
ear
look
know,
through the
open.
right?
years and like, what do you see
You don't
that's
sleep
notices
deep until
change?
your
I
children are
was
went to
right on
somebody.
the
So
street
you
that I
be
actually
glad for
wanted
them to
to
go
be
to the
on.
other parent house because this the first time you get to sleep deep if you ain't working. But
Right.
I want to
But I
know what a
noticed, I had
40-hour a
noticed
week
something
was
as I
because
was
I
looking
work 40
through
hours a week. Plus,
See
I
if I
work
can go
two
back to that
12-hour
exact
shifts on the
area.
weekend, and then a partial
Very
8-hour
close
shift.
to
But I
it.
cut that down into the two 12
Yeah, you
instead of
got one.
30.
You got you're in the healthcare field. That's a different type of
But
profession.
Honestly.
it was like that for
I ain't gonna hold
for
you.
years. I
Yeah.
worked that, and
I
that's
know
why
it was
when they
on
was like,
San
"Oh,
Pedro
you
though.
just," I was
I'll
like,
tell you that
they
much. I
had
was
no
on
idea. But I
San
ain't want to take. I
Pedro
just really wanted to say we
looking
really have to know our rights
at the San
and stuff when
Pedro
we go here, and don't
streets.
always think that the lawyer know their rights. Because I was about to reach back to the prison and find me the
San
damn
Pedro.
the
Jailhouse lawyer.
jailhouse, the prison
Pedro.
lawyer, and put some money on his
Yeah.
books to do my paperwork.
Pedro.
Yeah, they'll do it too. They're good at it.
They
See,
real
Pedro.
good at it.
I was about to,
They got a
I
lot
was
of
about to
time.
do it.
They got a
I
lot
was
of
about to
time.
do it. I
San
put
Pedro.
$50 on there and be
See,
like,
Pedro.
hey, put this in legal mail and send it out to me when you finish. Here go the info.
Pedro.
And they look
See,
forward to the
Pedro.
opportunity. That's what tripped
My
out.
homie
They
Pedro.
love it. They like, oh, who,
See,
me?
Pedro.
Okay.
You got
And they
it.
just
Cousin
know
Pedro.
more than the lawyer
My cousin Pedro.
that you would have hired on the outside.
Where was it? It was
Yeah.
They
about,
definitely got
all I
more
know
Those,
is
time to
it
work
was
on your case. They
San
got
Pedro.
24 fucking hours a day to work on your
And
case.
there was a lot
So,
of businesses
They
like
got a
that.
anybody
lot
out
of
there
And
who
you see
needs a
another
legal work
something
out
that you
might better
notice
find somebody who
very
Now, is it true?
alarming
Is it true
too
that
is
inmates
also what
can
the
no
businesses in
longer
that area
educate
started
themselves
looking like
formally?
too.
I haven't been in the prison system in a since 2012.
This is a good one.
So I
Let's
don't know.
see.
I am going back into it because I just
Well, this
completed
is
my
up
background
to
check.
2020.
So, but I work in medical,
I want to
but I
show
haven't
like
been
an
around it
area
in a few
where
years.
There was
Well,
a time that people that were
it
doing
seems
a
like
lot
the
of
businesses
when
went
people were doing a
away.
lot of time, they got their master degree in prison.
Went
And I
away.
think now
And
they
there used to be
prohibit
businesses
people
in the
from
area.
getting those certifications.
Yeah, it depends on what jail and what prison they go to. Some of them just don't have any type of thing. Maybe a little.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Some of them, yeah, some of them have training and stuff like that, where you can get your GED and stuff like that, and get into some type of something to keep you mentally occupied for when you get out of jail. But it depends on the jail, because those private prisons may not do it. Some of the federal prisons do it. I think my brother, he got his GED and
That's crazy because I
and
lost
craftsmanship
it.
stuff in
As soon as I touched the
Angola, which is
daggone
a
thing,
state.
I
So it
lost the
depends
street.
on the jail.
I had a
Okay.
particular area I was looking at.
They
Yeah,
used
I've
to-
heard about inmates
Is this
times
it? Did I
past
find it
gone
again?
by
Just like that?
that have acquired like certifications.
Well, this looks.
It depends
very
on the
crackish.
inmate
Let me
because some get in there
let's
they
try right
first
here.
bid. They don't want to do nothing but go on the
So-
rec yard and play basketball. They don't want to, do other stuff.
I think.
So
oh yes, this was it. This
they
was
got to,
it.
if they
Exactly
want to get
right
it,
here.
it got
This
to
is
be
exactly where I was
self-motivated
at.
even within
I
them.
thought it was San Pedro. It
Oh,
was
and that
San
I pronounced that lady
Julian. This is
name wrong. It's
exactly it right
Romani,
here.
not Romani. It's Romani.
Okay, I was in
I
this
heard her
little
pronounce
section
it.
looking
Yeah,
at this
I
right
really
here,
like her. I checked out some of her content. She's awesome.
and I looked back.
But yeah, we got to really know.
You know,
looking at
because
the
she's
blight
really
in the area and the
efficient
homelessness issue
and she keeps
the
it no
media stories around
nonsense
the
and
area. You see,
understandable.
we're here
So yeah, I
on
really like her
San
content. I do.
Julian, and
Yeah,
6th
your
Street.
daughter.
You know, she's starting to get
in
that little
Skid
gray
Row
patch
section
in the front of
of
her
Los
head
Angeles.
as time goes by. I
Name,
think being on
San
YouTube
Julian,
might
about the 600
stress her
block.
out. I don't know,
I
but
don't think they be fucking
This
with her
right
like
now,
that.
we're
Like they be.
looking currently from 2020
If you go to the
on.
homesteaders
We go
group,
even more
you
direct,
don't even
more
find no
current.
drama over there. They got black homesteaders. And
2022.
I don't think they be having no drama on their life. They
2022.
talking about this like
Currently
no,
on
the
San
black
Julian
homesteaders they don't
600
have no
block
drama. But you know
of
it was two content creators
San
that was into the
Julian and 6th
gardening
Street
and stuff that had a beef.
in the Skid Row section of Los Angeles.
And
really?
You see
yes,
here on
it
this
was a
corner, a
guy
lot of
who
people,
was
the homeless
upset by
here
lead
on this
farmer.
corner, just
Lead
alone
Farmer 74
in
or
this section
72
right
or
here.
something. And the other guy, he
They
used
put
to
a
do the
porta
strawberry
potty.
crates. And for whatever reason, he didn't like Lead Farmer. He was saying Lead Farmer was a fraud.
Oh my God!
You see here, nothing
Yes.
but these makeshift tents.
Gotta get rid of the cameras, just like
all
the
up and
street
down
game.
here.
Oh my God!
And he
That
was
nigga
a,
selling fruit
Oh my
cheap.
God.
And who the
Oh
plug?
my God!
Hey, he got the
The
hook.
homesteaders are gangbanging.
You got
he
these
went,
blocked
I
off.
was like,
I don't know
what
what they're
the?
doing here. Maybe
I was
doing
like, we
some
don't
more
have this
fixing
over
things.
here. But I remember him because he was the
Somebody passing
strawberry
on
crate.
through.
He would teach people how to do the strawberry milk crate and
All
stuff.
makeshift
Oh
tents
my
just going
God!
all up
And
and
he
down
was,
So
and
here.
much
Lead
for
came after him. Lead came after him,
so
but
much for nature being soothing.
And Lead Farmer Group
Right.
been
You can
growing
see it.
and
You can
growing.
see it.
You know, his stuff been
So
growing. And
I
I
said,
guess
let me
he
look
began,
back through the
he like,
years. Let me
here, fake,
take a
here,
look.
this,
Take a
this,
little
this.
glance
So
back through time.
yeah, it was funny. And it was
We
men
go to
too.
August 2007.
Yeah, old ass men are just like, no,
I think
Go
no.
back
Lead
to
did like
August
a
2007
Cynthia
and
G.
see
I'm not responding.
what's going on. Let me check on my peoples over here.
Right? Yeah.
He was like, I'm not
And I
responding.
think that's an intelligent approach depending on how you want to defend your channel. And then you have your subscribers that pressure you into responding. Because believe it or not, there are some people that would prefer to not respond to their opposition. And then they got their subscribers that's going at them like, you just gonna take that? Oh, I was disappointed in you. I
Yeah,
thought you
but
was
if you one of those beefer subscribers when you're taking on all opposition, and then you say
Who
I'm
we got
not
here?
now, I'm not gonna respond on one thing. People just used to me responding.
there are some people that
But
would
yeah,
prefer
it's a move.
to not
The
respond.
whole
He has a
time,
level of
bro.
maturity. Now, if he, I ain't watch all his content, but then I didn't see him respond. So, but I want to be like that when I grow up. I want to be able to be in my zen and be like, you ain't gonna get no reaction out of me.
This whole time too, I had them in the background.
Now, if he, I ain't watch all his content, but then I didn't see him respond. So, but I want to be like that when I grow up. I want to be able to be in my zen and be like, you ain't gonna get no reaction out of me.
This whole time too, I had them in the background. Mic check 1 2. Let me see where we at from this point. This check 1 2. Let me see where we at from this point. You can call this the janky stream because it's the work the kinks out stream right here. You can call this one the janky stream. That's on me. I hold that. I hold that. I wear that. This the janky stream today. But we gonna get it together. Yeah, we gonna get it together. You can call this the janky stream because it's the work the kinks out stream right here. You can call this one the janky stream. That's on me. I hold that. I hold that. I wear that. This the janky stream today. We gonna get it together. Yes, we will. All right. So, for all that, also for having their entire conversation playing in the background of my chat the whole time. Lord knows. You dig? The entire time had their conversation going on in the background of my chat. Okay. Let me see. Is there a way also too that I can? Yeah, I could just like pull out pause on them when I don't want to hear what they're saying if I'm doing something, and that way I can. Yeah, if I need to. If I need to. If I need it. If I need it. If I need it. If I need it. So, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, so just let's take a look right here to see right now. You're looking at current day 2022 here on the corner of 6th Street and San Julian. Well, no, not even current day. Pardon me. This was, yeah, this is 2022. So let's take it back in the time, 2007, about 15 years ago. Okay, things look a little slightly different here. People still hanging around. Doesn't look like it's still the safest of places to be. But okay. Not so many tents or anything of that nature. 2007. First year of President. Oh no, last year. This is the last year of President Bush. Last year of President Bush. Last year of President Bush. People are still hanging around, milling around, doing nothing. There's still some people sleeping there and set up like they want to live there. Well, this what threw me off right there. I saw that sign that said San Pedro Street, so I guess that's how LA does it. They have a sign ahead of where you about to be. Oh, you go up a little bit. I guess this is also depending on the time of day too that you look at it, is what you're gonna see. You know, just go up the street a little bit, see what's going on. They got a shelter. I'm believing that this must be a shelter right here on San Pedro. It's why there's so many homeless people that are hanging out around the area. That must be a shelter. I believe that's what that's got to be. That's got to be a shelter why they got so many people hanging around the area. But then let's take it back. Let's take it another step forward in time. This is the what? The Midnight Mission. I guess another type shelter. Yep, missions and stuff of that nature. Shelter. Mind you, remember, we were right here on the corner in 2022. I believe. There was a building there, right? Yeah. We were looking at this corner. All right, still 2007. All right, so at different times of the day. Look at that. All right, changes. Okay. Different times of the day, things change. Hold up, somebody here. Let me see if I can send them. Should I? Yeah, I probably won't. It don't even matter. I ain't gonna bother nobody. So it wasn't great. Okay, so it was. Nah, it wasn't. It's not much of an improvement. Maybe not as deep as it was then, but it seems like not much has changed. Not much has changed. What they did do though is from 2015 to then, they knocked down that building that was there on the corner. They lost that building that was there. So that did change, definitely. That building is no longer there, that whole entire corner. Somewhere along the way, that business was lost. So it was a different type of building at that time. Not the Midnight Mission, but who knows what it is. Danny Trading. What they say? Vanny Trading, yeah. Wholesale shoes and luggage. Okay. Then we go up 1 year. Go up to 2008. Oh no, we was looking at 2008 the whole time. Well, let's go to 2009. That building is still there. Vanny Trading is still there. Streets is. It seemed like the tents didn't just stay permanently. But this is the first year in Obama's presidency. Seems like a lot of the tents and stuff didn't stay permanently. The Midnight Mission, it wasn't called that yet. Let's go 1 more year. Oh, 2 years. 2011. Okay. 3 years into Obama's term. Streets is still not so bad. Them things ain't, yeah, them tents, they coming. You know what's crazy though is, right, again, depending on how Google did it, because look, like when you move at certain points, you see like things happen or change throughout the day. I guess it's around the time, it's depending on how they drove around. Like I can zoom in and see the carts, see the people hanging, because obviously, again, this got to be a shelter, right? There's a shelter here, so people are sleeping near the shelter. See the shopping carts again. Somebody had a little tarp, going. Hanging out, just kicking it, just having a good old time on the street. There's nothing there right now, but then you click that and then shit changes, right? Department of Water and Power. Okay. So near the power station. Now, but that's crazy because that bus is going. So, like, damn, how does shit completely change? Yeah. Probably the direction it was driving. Let's take it to 2012. Currently shown. Oh, that's it. They stitching shit together. February 2014. Obama is about to be out of office. Oh my gosh. It's starting to get crazy. That building is still there. That building is still there for the time being. But again, like I said, we're near a homeless shelter. It became the midnight mission sometime between then, around that time in Obama's term. It became the midnight mission. And then July, that's still July, October 2015. Obama is about to be out of office. They're handing out shit. Tag Mobile. Oh, the Obama phones. Handing out them Obama phones. Them OBZs. Handing out them OBZs. Hey. All right, okay. 2015. So now, August 2016, it would be a few months into President Trump's term. Yep, they still there. They ain't gonna go nowhere. This is California. They ain't going nowhere. Trust and believe that. This is California, Jack. They ain't going nowhere. That building is still there. Midnight Mission is still around. Okay. Them tents is there. We're starting to start seeing them now on near the power station too, on that side of the street. Let's take it 1 year up. About this time, October, 1 year up. Oh my gosh, the trash is ridiculous, bro. They just living in filth. My goodness. Chilling on the corner. Just chilling. Just a chilling. Tents is popping up. You know that's white people doing that shit. When it comes to a tent, that's white people doing that. Off top. They have 2018. Yeah, okay. So 2018. 1 more year. Trash is getting just ridiculous. Now it's like they just dumping shit. Like this is like they just intentionally dumping shit. This dude got a couch here. And a table. Bro. This is crazy. Mad bikes. You ever wonder why your bike gets stolen? This motherfucker got pigeons? What are you doing with pigeons, bro? It's crazy. Food Mart. I guess they still in business then in 2018. This is pre-pandemic. 2019. I'm pretty sure they went defunct during the pandemic. That's what it had to be. Even regardless after all of that. What are you riding with? A suitcase. This man got a suitcase. Bikes. More bikes. People leaning up against the building. They cleaned up the street. That was good. They cleaned it up. At least they did that. I guess they got to do that. The tents are starting to get real deep. Now they're getting shoulder to shoulder deep. They're getting shoulder to shoulder deep with these tents. And first year of Biden. First year of Biden. And also officially pandemic times. What they want to call a pandemic. Did they clean the street? Okay. Did they wash the street? Look like they washed. Okay, so they wash the street occasionally. I don't know what time of day this is, but you see the gate is pulled. Permanently closed. So they ended up closing during the pandemic. Doesn't say that then. 2019, pre-pandemic, they was open. And then Food for Life, permanently closed. Unfortunate. And so since they closed in 2021, I'm sure they closed in 2021. Which is ironic because it's been there for so long, that building been there for so long, they could have repurposed it. But what they did in 2022, they knocked it down. They knocked it down. And this is what you see. Current day. Jan 2022. Wow. So, we're going to take a quick little look into the history of Skid Row. The Skid Row Housing Trust and the history of Skid Row and the trust. Take a quick check-in on my peoples over here on Zoom. See what it is.
And you go park your car, and then they bring you to the after you shoot the music.
Well, you better watch out for a role for your daughter.
Oh, I already on that.
You already working on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it out there for everybody to know. I already broke down how to get on. Me, I'm one of those people. I like to tell people how to get on.
Okay.
That's the one thing we stopped doing. Stuff that we're doing it down there in Florida and Atlanta, Booming, North Carolina, stuff like that. So right now we're just going to the set.
What I find is that, like, when certain people come to our job, like if us Asian start there, she gonna bring her next Asian friend, her next Asian friend, and her next Asian friend. So, I don't know so much of black people be doing that no more. We just like we want to be the only one now.
And see what we never stop. We never stop. That's how we survive.
It's definitely been a change.
Ain't no hate, ain't no pulling down. Yeah, we just hope to make it. We come from the bottom. I'll be happy to see you.
That whole thing is a set, Mr. Kev. Oh, that's actual houses in the community.
No, Going through New Orleans. Right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, what street you going on right now, Mr. Care?
Oh, fine.
I couldn't hear you.
Right.
I still couldn't hear. Were you able to hear that, Koja?
Franklin.
Oh, Franklin. Okay, gotcha.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah,
you still
yeah,
wearing your mask. In Florida, ain't nobody wearing no mask.
yeah.
So weird when I go in the store.
Everybody. Because then I go
What do the what are the numbers that are coming back from you guys' areas?
I ain't paid
In
attention.
Florida,
Yeah.
let them tell it they not having a big issue down there, so it leads you to wonder like, what's the problem? You know what I mean? But people speak down on Florida because they let them run loose and do what they kind of want to do, but they're not having an outbreak of COVID cases.
Well, we
So
ain't been doing nothing but going to the beach. That's all we've been doing in Florida. We ain't been doing too much.
everybody coming down there to go party though too though. You see what I'm saying? Because the state is wide open. So
No.
that's the next thing.
No.
We're like, well,
I got some vacation time coming, but I'm not taking my daughter. She want to go to Disney, but I just think I'm gonna take her to one of them timeshares. They got like the water park there, cause you could kind of isolate yourself, and ain't nobody gonna be staying at the facility at the place. So she could hang out at the pool and stuff. But we'll probably try Disney in the fall, cause it sucks to be in Florida at Disney World in the summertime. Don't do it.
I didn't want to interrupt. Y'all was in the middle of the conversation. Let me get back to what I was doing if y'all was already talking. I just was still going through.
Well, ain't you from Florida?
I lived in Florida. I'm not from there.
Oh, don't be trying to say it like that.
Nah, I'm originally a New Yorker. I'm originally a New Yorker.
You gonna come to die here like the rest of the New Yorkers. This gonna be your final resting place.
I don't
I'm
know.
trap you in the twilight zone.
I'm starting to like Jersey. I found out there's things about it that I could work with. If not that, it's still I'm close enough to New York where I can run over there and do what I want to do, but it's cheaper to live here in Jersey, so I don't know. Okay. I'm not getting that Florida weather like y'all got, that nice sunshine all year round, but I like
cold days when it got in the 60s and stuff. I think it even got in the 50s.
Yeah, 50s.
I forgot that was you up here, man. I'm hearing your
voice.
How you know what Franklin is? Yeah, we're right here by Pilgrim too.
Oh, these are nice.
What's up, people? Hey, baby, what's happening with you?
Nah. Yeah, you got getting mad love out there.
You ain't kept us updated on the stocks. Kev.
Ain't like he ain't been doing them.
Right now.
I need an update though. I need for him to
hold on.
You gotta make an appointment.
I don't about these stocks. What he told me about this charge point, and I need for him to do an update.
Give me 1 second, go right here.
You ain't got to do it today.
No, every day when you on the set, they COVID test.
Oh, okay.
Right there.
Yep.
I'm gonna introduce you in a minute.
I want to hear those pretty girls he talking to in the background.
Yeah, that's a COVID test there. Every day they test you. They'll let you know in an hour if you got COVID or not. See, they'll test because if too many people got COVID, they'll shut down the whole production.
Oh man.
Oh wow.
I'm sure don't want one of the actors getting COVID because then they can't film. Because they're quarantining for 2 weeks. So we got a whole COVID staff for wherever we go.
I bet he got I bet it's some good looking guys over there being actors too.
Mella, I hear you.
It sounds like a real fun environment.
Hey, morning.
So you mean to tell me the entertainment industry got more money than the healthcare industry? Because we get tested once every 2 weeks.
It's about equal.
They got a budget now.
They could test every day.
Them people got real money. They ain't playing this game. You think that if we have a breakdown and all these things are paid for in the places that they rented and stuff like that, you talking about $20,000, $30,000. Wow, just for for a house to film that, right? So you rather take the caution and not play no games before it costs you money.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, I
They
get
say they
you.
have to like they shut down when the first came, when they first hit, they shut down production for 2 weeks, and nobody worked. So that's a whole lot of money that change hands that you can get
Yeah.
back.
All right, y'all. So let me get back here to
I stand there, man.
and to check in. They got me
Yeah, that's
co-hosting over there
that's
too. So, but seeing as everybody's up, wide awake, and going,
Did you get
so
the
I guess I
did
can
you get
focus
the
until I bring the
jab?
conversation over there, if they even
what
want
did
to
you say?
chime in on that. And if I take it over there after we know us finish speaking on this, y'all, it's gonna be random general conversations.
There are
Once
people
again,
talking
shout
about
out to
the
Bomb Cherry and her
residual
platform and
effects
her
of
channel
having COVID.
for the
Like they got these after
the
effects.
gathering of intelligent,
I have.
like-minded people
I thought
to
somebody
have
said it was the
open
elderly that
dialogue on
experience more
various
residual, but
various
I
topics.
ain't
Shout out
really
to y'all
been
over
keeping
there.
up. I had it twice, but I ain't
Now
got
Yeah.
back
nothing.
here
So what
again.
they make us do now is
Speaking
German,
about
I think
where
the German at a
where
church
we've
today said
started
you
with
say
the
about
history of
15
Skid Row,
minutes, they're gonna
right?
let you know your results in 15 minutes
The history of Skid Row and the
before you get on the
trust.
set where all the actors and
Skid
stuff
Row
like
is
you
an
don't want to
area
see
of
it, just want to see
approximately
it under
50
control.
square blocks
Okay,
located just east
that's
of
new.
downtown Los
Right.
Angeles,
I took my
also
test this
known as
morning
Central
too.
City East.
Mm-hmm.
The area has a
Yeah,
long-standing history as a
German she
residential
ain't playing. They
neighborhood
got
for
real
those
money,
with the
OG.
least.
Real
Yeah, they
money.
got
Since the
more
early
than my
20th
nursing home.
century,
They
many
checking
of the
every
city's
day.
working poor,
Yeah, but
unemployed,
see here,
disabled, and
that's the
otherwise
whole crew.
marginalized
You got
residents
film
have
crews,
found
that's
homes
about
in the
20
single
people.
room
You
occupancy
got the truck
hotels
drivers who
located
bring
throughout
the
this
equipment.
relatively small
That's
neighborhood.
another 30
But
people.
between
Then you got
1950
equipment
and
people.
the
You got the whole
2000
nurse
and
staff.
2000,
Then you got the whole
15,000
acting and
residential hotel
background staff. So
apartments,
like,
the most
what if they want
affordable
you to do the
housing in Los
background in the
Angeles,
church today?
were
Right,
destroyed,
like you're in church and
threatening
they was gonna
Skid Row's
have an
residential
extra.
community and
But
forcing
you got a
thousands of
COVID
people
test, sit for
onto the
15
city's
minutes. And
shelters
before
and
you even get here
sidewalks.
today, you had the COVID
In
test Wednesday and
1989,
Friday too.
community
And every time you COVID
activists
test,
and
they say you
business
kicked it
leaders
out.
of Los Angeles
Oh
downtown
shit!
community
I
respond to
never.
the alarming
They
disappearance
pay
of
you to take a
affordable
COVID
permanent
test.
housing by
Remember
coming
when they couldn't
together
even
to
find the
create
COVID
Skid
test that
Row
people were
Housing
scrambling
Trust.
for?
The trust swiftly
Hollywood got that
mobilized
money.
private equity through low
Hey,
income tax credits,
Yeah, they
hey,
coming,
man.
public
and not
finance,
only
and
that, they coming out
conventional
of California,
debt,
so
debt
they
to
trying to
salvage
live
hundreds
on a
of
lot of
housing
things. So
apartments
they're
that
not
would have
playing with
been
COVID and
otherwise
stuff like
lost.
that.
Dilapidated hotels were
And then they
renovated
got
and
hand
transformed into
sanitizers, and you
safe,
got people walking
attractive,
around
and
giving out
affordable permanent
these
housing
masks here are the
in which low income and formerly
N95 and
homeless
N94
men and
masks.
women
These the real
could
masks,
live and thrive.
right? These the
Over the
ones that they
past
recommend,
25
but nobody
years, the
could get
trust
for
has
the house
refined its homes to provide
when they
not just
first came out,
housing,
but they got
but a
plenty of them
supportive
now.
community as well.
Don't
The
nobody
trust
in
has
Florida hardly
increasingly
wear masks.
targeted
If I
its
meet
homes to
somebody in the
long-term
Walmart, I be like,
homeless
"Oh,
and
thank you.
disabled
Now I
men
don't
and
feel
women,
so odd because I feel so
with an
odd being the
emphasis
only one
on
in here with a
co-locating
mask."
housing and services together by providing an
But it
integrated
ain't like
approach
that
to
in Florida
housing,
for a while.
primary health care, mental health treatment,
It was
substance
so
abuse
funny when we
treatment,
was in
and
lockdown
counseling.
and they were
The trust
saying
provides
no
many of the
flights and
tools
stuff.
needed to
The
overcome the
fucking
causes of
truck stops
homelessness.
on
The
95 was so
combination of
crowded because
beautifully
people were
designed,
traveling.
high-quality
Hey,
housing,
Woody,
professional
you
property
here?
management, and innovative social service
See these
provision
girls
has
here,
made Skid
Woody?
Row Housing
Those
Trust
are
the
stand-in
national leader
actors.
in
They just
ending
getting the
We
COVID
homelessness.
can't
test
see
now.
him, Kev.
Now,
Move the camera over a little bit.
I went with this
No,
page,
I won't be
right
this
here,
long,
because
kid.
they also added an
Oh,
early
okay.
history of
No,
Skid
I know you're
Row,
trying to be
how
inconspicuous.
Skid Row came
You're
about.
right,
But I'm
but
a
they got,
But
but
again,
you're
not
right,
knowing
brother.
who
They
Skid
do
Row
got some
Housing Trust
attractive,
is
right?
and what
Some
they
attractive, a
do,
lot
and
of attractive people.
whether they're in that same type of
So
vein of, say, like the
when I hear
BLM
people
movement or
Yeah,
talking
because
about
whatnot.
that's
this
the
to you,
nature of the
But
yeah,
when you're
that's the
focusing on a
nature of the
problem like
well,
this,
industry.
no,
especially if you are
it's
actually
gotta. I mean, our people
doing
just ain't
things
good
that
looking
are
people. For one,
making a
That's
they
right.
benefit
happen to have
to
we're good
the
looking
immediate
people.
community at large,
But
like
but
actually
they everyday
housing
looking
people,
people. They don't look no
and then
different
we
than
can
your uncle or
see
your brother, your
tangible
cousin.
results, then hey, I'm
What
all
you
for
seeing
it.
on
Respect to
television
it.
is after excellent lighting,
But let's go
and you got
into
each
an
actor
early
has
history
their
of
own
Skid Row.
personal makeup artist
The
on
term
set
Skid
12
Row
hours a day.
originated during the
So
construction
yeah,
of
they
the
put you looking
railroads
at
in the mid
it.
19th
So if
century.
they
The
if
first
they did the
railroad
same
construction
thing, you
began in
would look just
Pacific
like
Northwest,
anybody else
where
out there.
tracks made from harvested
I-
logs were sent to the construction sites
I think
along
that
skid roads.
I always
These
said
roads
if
were
we if
also
we had
built
that makeup artist,
also
everybody
were
could be
built
a
from
team.
logs, and their purpose was to make it
Even
much
the
easier
team.
to
Yeah,
keep the
you
logs
really
rolling
like
along the
it's
heavily
just the lighting and
muddied
all that. They
streets
just make
around
you look like
sites.
you should on television.
The
That's
workers
all.
who built the
And
railroads
if you
were
see
mostly
that makeup
transient
in
immigrant
person,
men.
it's paint
As the
on. So
construction
you
took
see the
hold,
discoloration.
businesses that
Yeah,
catered to
real
these men
bad.
sprang up.
Yeah, it's a
Usually
different look.
brothels
Even
and
for the black
travel
dudes, you can
and
see from
taverns
Maya,
for the
like you
most
put,
part.
they
So,
but they put a blending thing in
unfortunately, what you
with the
see
color
here
just
is
for to
you
keep the
have
shine off your face from the light.
pretty much a
Especially
section
when it's hot
of the
outside,
city
they
that's
put a different
isolated
type of
from
makeup
most
on. So that's
Mr.
what
Kim, you wearing
necessities.
makeup right
I mean,
now?
like, say, if you want
I
to
don't.
say,
I do a
what year
stand in,
again?
but if
The early
but
19th century. They
when
didn't be
I'm
specific
doing
about the
stand in
time,
now,
but if
but
you
when
were
I'm
thinking
on set,
early
yeah,
19th century
they'll
shit,
put
hey,
makeup on you because you'll
whew,
sweat.
Okay.
when America
Yeah.
was becoming
Cause the management
becoming
finna
a
go
nation,
in on you,
still
and baby, you
formulating and
with
becoming a
makeup
nation.
on.
All right,
No, they ain't
Oh
finna
well,
put
early
that
as
in
long
me.
as my shit is
mid
masculine.
19th century, mid 19th century. That would be
But like if you
again
have
how they
tattoos or something,
classify
they put
that.
makeup on that.
If we're in the 21st century,
Anybody on
21st century
television
is
you
always a
see
year
got
ahead.
makeup on unless they're an actor
Let's
or
look that
something.
up. What is
But I'm finna hop off. It's time for me to go to bed.
All
We're
right, Cole.
going. Good night. Y'all have a great one.
Okay, have a good one.
Oh yeah, look, Cole. I'm gonna get up. Oh, you said the stock thing.
the
Charge
19th
Point
century,
dropped down to about
1801
$18
to
the whole market
1900,
pulled back. So I'm gonna get a few more shares, but I'm gonna make a
mid
video.
19th century, so
I
around
created another
1850.
channel.
Okay.
Right, around 1850, 1860,
Okay.
1840, between 1840 to
Okay.
1860. When we saying mid
I have
19th
to set up a
century, I
portfolio,
figured
a
again
whole
that with the
portfolio,
centuries, how they like to name it,
and I'ma just
you're
do
one century ahead of the
500
actual years that
set
you're
up for
in,
one of my friends who
and
wanted to invest about
it
$1,500.
ends on the
And I'ma just walk it
century
down and hush. I make her like some of my friends I
that
make
it
like a
turns
little
into.
personal video.
So we're
But I'm
in
gonna
the
set up a new
21st
portfolio
century.
because the stocks are real cheap right now, and I'm gonna explain why
So between the
and how much
1840s
dividends
to
they pay.
1860s, I guess in there they're highlighting that point.
Okay, cause I got one that done dropped a lot. But
There were
I'll
a
get
lot
to
of
you when you
immigrant
do it.
workers coming to
Have a
the
good
area
one.
that were working, and the businesses that started springing up, what they started actually doing was building bars and taverns, and prostitution
Those are the ones who put up the lighting
became prevalent in the
and
area.
all that.
Why? Again,
Yeah.
well, we're here
They
because
in their 30s.
the workers who built the
But they
railroads
make
were
about-
mostly transient,
about 6 or 7
immigrant
dollars.
workers, free flowing transit, no
That's
permanent
yeah.
residents,
For
and
young
immigrant
men.
men.
So that's the kind of money
As the
some of,
construction
they
took
can make
hold,
that a career.
businesses that catered
They
to
go
these
all
men
across the
sprang
country
up.
with it.
Catering to a need, Usually brothels and taverns for the most
Cool. I'll
part.
talk to you later,
Since
man.
the men were far away from their families and homes, single room occupancy,
Oh,
hotels
she
were
gone.
built
Hey,
to
Warrior,
house
I'm
them.
out here.
Ergo,
I'm
why
at,
they say they have such a
I'm at the,
high number of single
First
room
Pilgrim Baptist
hotels
Church
in
on
the area.
Franklin, man.
When the men were working, they had money to spend on prostitution, liquor, and hotels.
I guess
Give
y'all-
them somewhere to
Yeah,
sleep,
I'm listening to
give
you.
them a drink, and give them
Everybody
some
got
pum
their,
pum.
get their test results back at the same
Men
time.
are
or they
men.
come to you individually?
They like to say,
15
again,
minutes.
Oh, okay.
men are so difficult,
Once
this, that,
I
and the
say
third.
that, I'm just waiting 15 minutes. They can say yes or no.
They thrived off of giving them somewhere to
So
sleep,
right now, that's all we
giving
do.
something
Let's
to
sit
eat,
outside,
and
man.
giving them some pum
Take
pum.
the test, sit for 15 minutes, and then they let you know your results.
Ladies, you can lock a man down simply with that. It ain't that hard. But anyway,
So we got a couple-
when the
couple
men were working, they had money to
uh,
spend on
Thursday,
prostitution,
Friday,
liquor, and
Monday.
hotels. But employment was often seasonal and scarce. When the men were out of work, they wound up often drunk and sleeping in the streets. Alcoholism grew among this population of men, which is kind of, again, it's expected because if you have nothing to do and you're not working, and then sometimes some of these men, they drown their sorrows in alcohol and substance abuse.
But like I was saying, D,
Alcoholism grew among this population of men. The religious community responded to their needs by opening shelters to house,
Yeah.
feed, and proselytize to the men. So we'll give you some food, we'll give you somewhere to sleep, and let me tell you about the word of God. Cool. These neighborhoods were considered seedy, dangerous, and dirty, and indeed they are. Because of the skid roads that were in the center of the neighborhoods. They became known as skid
on the film
rows.
industry. Just tell them to go look. You can go.
Toward the
You can go
end
look
of
at
the
what we
19th
got.
century,
It's called
the rail lines
a
were
booking
built in
agent.
Los Angeles
Booking
connect
agents like
Southern California to the
mygastonfile.com.
rest of the
Put your
country.
picture up.
The
Go
railroads were
file, just
constructed
front
to
picture,
end
side
just
picture.
east of the
It don't have to
historic
be
core
extravagant. You
of
only have
Los
to dress up because they
Angeles,
look for
which
everyday
was the
people. All these
bustling
country cities
downtown
and
core
everyday
of the
people,
city at the
they
time.
already know what
As in
kind of
other urban
background they
areas,
looking
the
for, what they
brothels,
looking for.
bars,
Height,
SRO,
weight,
hotels, and missions developed to
build,
serve first the men
gappy teeth,
who
straight,
worked on the
stuff like
railroads
that. You
and
put it
later
in there,
men
and
who
then it will
traveled
send
west
you
on the
emails
railroads in
like,
search
they'll
of
start off
work
like if you
and
want to be in
opportunity.
background, which is a
Since
good
its
start. That's when the
inception
average
at the
everyday
end of the
person will say,
19th
look,
century,
are you
Los
interested in
Angeles
being
Skid Row has been
background
defined by the mix
for
of cheap
a crowd at
residential
Mike Tyson's
hotels,
meeting? A
industry,
Mike
and
Tyson
religious
meeting, which
missions,
they just
and the
did, I
people
think
they
that.
serve,
And
ranging
then
from
you would,
workers to those
you would
down on the luck to the
respond to
poor
it.
and
You're like, yeah, I
disabled.
do that. Then they'll send you an email saying, okay, we need
Which
you to
doesn't
go
look
take
too
a
much
code
different
test
from now,
at this
which it
location,
is
and they're gonna pay you
today,
$50.
minus
And then a
maybe the
COVID test
brothels,
at
but
this location, and
still a
then
lot
they'll
of
tell you, they don't
easily
tell you the
affordable,
location up
cheap
front.
liquor,
They'll tell you,
and the
they're gonna tell you
hotels are
what
still
day
in
you
the
need
area.
for 12 hours.
And the church missions
Day
are still
before
around,
that,
as
they'll
we
tell you
saw
the
the
location.
midnight
And
mission
then
when
you
we were
start
looking
there,
at
they
the
got your name
immediate
on the
area of
list,
the
you
area,
go through that
which is
same
more than
cycle
likely
you
a
see me
church
just go
mission.
through. Get on
And
the
there was a shelter
go
right
get
there,
the
also
set.
right next to
They
that.
pay for
And I'm
all
sure there was
parking.
many more shelters
No
in the
matter
immediate
where you're
area. We
at,
didn't
they
look
just
too
buy a
deep
whole
and delve
parking
in,
garage.
but it seems like that is
Or just buy a lot,
those
and
all
lay
those
out a
things
lot.
that were
And
prominent
you
in
got, showers
1850,
in different areas.
100, 200,
And then you get on the bus, bring
100,
it to the poorest
almost
situation.
200 years
For
now,
those that's doing
it
outdoor
still
safety, how to
survives to
act
this
and
day.
stuff like that. And the directors and
Ergo,
stuff
now
like
here
that.
we are, when they're speaking in the
One,
20th
people be in the
centry,
background. You
during
got
the
a
Great
guy that comes
Depression of the
there with
1930s,
costume. They come
LA
in,
Skid Row saw an
they might
infusion of men
put
from
you
the
in
rest
the
of the United States
type of
heading west
song
in
for the
hopes of earning
times
a
or what's
living.
going on in the movie.
Often they wound up on Skid Row
And they
where
got
they
you
could
beside
find
it,
housing,
and then they
food,
put you in
or
the back.
shelter of some kind.
You pay
The
for it.
pattern of this transient
Yeah, they
population
used to have
continued into the
a real
past,
good incentive program
continue
in
into
Atlanta
and
area
past the
when
Depression well into the
Tyler Perry first got in,
1950s
but
and
a lot
1960s.
of the younger generation
But the
suffered
1970s saw a dramatic and profound
that
change,
rap
where once the
rap
population
industry
had been
music
dominated
was
by
Well, it's
mostly
still
by
booming.
men who
Now,
suffered from
they doing their
alcoholism,
thing 'cause they
the
get some
70s brought
recognition.
Vietnam
That's the rap game.
veterans
But
and heavy
Atlanta
drug
is the
users.
Hollywood of the South, not New
Yeah.
Orleans. Atlanta
Which
gives
again
two
was at the
incentives.
time that the
Louisiana gives
opioid
the
use
film
was starting to be getting
industry
more
out of
prevalent in the 60s and
California and other
70s,
places
and
in
other
New
hard
York,
drug use. So now
tax-free. They
people
can
who are
operate
familiar
there
with the area
tax-free.
or
That's
from
why a
that
lot of them
area
start coming here. Atlanta not
coming
only gives
and
them tax-free,
settling in that
but
area
they
along with
also
other men who are just
is a right
homeless
to work
and
state. So
alcoholics,
they don't really have to
and
use
now you're
them.
introducing
Right. You
drug
don't have to
abusers
use
and
them
users to the
union
streets as well.
employees because you're coming out of union areas like California.
So
Like you can't move
the
with your
70s
that's
brought
what the
war
union
veterans
got,
and
that
heavy
type of
drug
thing.
users.
Yeah.
In addition,
Come up that kind of
legislation was
background. So
passed
there's
to
a double positive for them because you get all the
deinstitutionalize
tax breaks.
hospitals
And then you got
serving
Tyler Perry with his
serving
people
individuals
there.
with severe
Got a
mental
lot of money
illness.
there just because of the
Well-meaning
depression
as this
that they got
was,
there.
the government did not follow
Norman
through on the
Morehouse,
community
Morris
treatment
Brown
needed to
kicking their
stabilize
ass all
these
those
individuals
years.
outside of
That's a little different
hospitals.
than
With nowhere to go,
New Orleans for Dillard and
many
Xavier
wound
because all
up
I
in
was
Skid Row,
need to see.
where services and shelters
They're
were
not
the
from here, so
only
they wind
help
up getting
available
paid.
to
You
them.
can go to Atlanta and walk right
In the
into your profession
1950s
as
and
a journalist.
60s, many of the
Go get some
residential
damn journalist
hotels
job
fell
in New
into
Orleans.
despair. The city increased building
one
and
damn
safety code
newspaper.
enforcement of the residential
Communication.
hotels,
Communicate with you
and
out
many
the street.
owners found it cheaper to demolish the hotels rather than comply with work orders.
So yeah, they
The
booming
stock
like
of
that. All
affordable
the
housing
houses
provided
around
through the
that
residential
acting
hotels
tea, acting
was
fish,
reduced by half during
and
this
sugar.
period,
The guy
and many
who plays
residents
Miss
found themselves
Hollywood,
unable to
real
afford
cool
other
dude,
housing and
man.
now
I see him
homeless.
every day. Actually, I see him in a
Okay.
few minutes. He's from Decatur, Georgia.
These years also
Okay.
saw
A
the
couple of the
deterioration
directors
of
is from
entire
California.
inner cities across the
Spring
entire
Breeder,
country.
the lady that goes over
Residents
the line,
with
she
the
was from
resources resources moved out of urban areas and into the suburbs. To address the urban blight issue, a war on poverty was declared by then President Lyndon Johnson. With government funding, commercial interest in urban revitalization grew. Of course it did. Because with the government footing the bill, hey, we can do all things, right? Nothing is impossible when the government will split the check, even though nothing may come of it.
Because it's kind of flowing with the money, because you can make a decent
In
living.
Los Angeles, the urban revitalization began with the Bunker Hill redevelopment. which
some of the
also
best schools.
displaced
They
many
use the same
low-income
thing as the
residents.
Acitivist. They got vegan
Businesses,
schools,
interests,
all that
and
kind of stuff.
developers
Like I see a
expressed
lot of
concern
it in
that Skid
California.
Row and the homeless population downtown would hamper economic
So
development
all through
opportunities.
North Carolina, I think North
In the
Carolina started
1970s,
small
Los
up a little
Angeles
bit.
Mayor Tom
New
Bradley
Orleans have
was
about
facing
5 shows
increasing
going
pressure
right
to
now.
address the
We got
issue.
we got Queen Sugar
But
interview
it
with
was
a
an ethical
vampire.
and moral dilemma.
You
Displacement
you'll
of the
see
poor
me
and
in
disabled had
a
only
movie
increased
called
homelessness downtown.
with George
The city
Foreman.
clearly
It's
needed a new
Muhammad Ali
approach.
movie.
Mayor Bradley created a
You'll see
special
me
Blue
walk
Ribbon
George
Commission
Foreman in as one of
charged
the
with coming
African
up with a
laws.
response to the
So
dilemma.
one of the uniforms like that.
After
Like
much
you see
study and
that,
consideration, the
that.
commission
So
recommended
he
that the
coming in the
Community
airport.
Redevelopment
And
Agency,
that
CRA,
movie there is called
which
Heart of a
collected and
Lion.
managed the developers'
That's
fees, paid to the
directed
city
by
and generated tax increment
Forrest Whitaker.
financing,
He's
using those
he's
fees to
playing
care
old
for
George
and
Foreman. He
house the
cool too,
homeless.
man.
The
Yeah,
commission
I
recommended
yeah.
that the
Yeah, he
CRA,
sit down there, chit
Community
chat with you, you know,
Redevelopment
sit down,
Agency,
eat lunch
fund
with them.
residential
They bring him
development in
actually,
Skid Row to
they bring him
preserve the
his country,
community
he got a
for
trailer
its
in there,
low-income
tour.
residents
I'm good right
and
now. We
provide
good.
decent housing for them.
yeah. I
Long as
remember.
The
I remember
recommendation
seeing
was
clips
that
of
all
the
housing and
movie
services for the
Skid
homeless be
Row.
centered in Skid Row,
right.
neighborhood where they would
So
be
you got
would,
that one.
would
You
both
got
be
Mike
protected
Tyson
for the
one.
pressures
That's being filmed by
for the pressures of gentrification, but also concentrate the
that's being
homeless
filmed by Jamie
away from
Foxx.
Bunker
And then
Hill and the new
on my
financial
page, I
core of
got
the
a
city.
video showing the behind the scene
Mm.
of the Jamie Foxx movie and how they set it up for all the extras
And this
and
gentleman
stuff.
saying this is where you go when you lose
The
everything and
warehouse,
start
the
over. It
makeup crew, and all that
doesn't even
kind of
seem
stuff.
like a
Yeah,
start
just
over.
try to
It just
show
seems
people,
like
I can get on
waiting
a
to
couple
die.
of dollars. It's good for young folks.
What I did take from this,
Extra
what we did
college
learn from
money.
this, we also
If
picked
you
up some
get on
history,
full
a
time,
little bit of
that's
history
good. But
lesson.
if they ain't good
The
enough,
mid
then, you
1800s is
can
around the
buy
time
other,
that the
damn sure
Pacific
career stuff,
Northwest,
which is brand
the
new to us.
railroad
Like,
construction
okay,
began in the
brother,
Pacific
make some real
Northwest.
money.
Tracks made
You know,
from harvested logs were
working
sent and
6
constructed
months, you
along
working
skid
12,
roads.
14
These
hour
roads were
days,
called
but
skid
you're
roads,
making good money.
connecting Southern California
Those three little
to.
guys I showed you,
The
one of them
purpose
might
of
be
it was to
70, the
connect
other two
Southern
might be 40
California.
college. They ain't
They
even
said
30 years old yet.
connect Southern California to the rest of
Which
the
is good in
country.
Louisiana. I know people
Boom.
throwing money out there and stuff like that in California. You
And
need
around the
6
mid
figures, you
1950s and
know.
60s, a lot of Vietnam veterans
Look,
started
that
coming back
sounds
from
in
the war
California
and
and New York,
were
y'all
strung
need
out
that.
on
You
drugs
need
and
all that
started
down
also hanging in these
Yeah,
areas.
the
The businesses that were
economics,
popping up
when I
to
talk about economics, they
cater to the
yeah,
men
They
that
were like,
were
you ain't shit if you ain't making 100,000.
coming there
Damn.
looking for work
yeah. If I'm
That
in
was
New
it,
York,
man.
if I'm in
were
California,
seedy businesses,
yeah, milk
prostitution
is
and
fucking
brothels and
$20
bars,
a gallon, I guess so.
which aided into the alcoholism in the area, and the work was seasonal.
Yeah.
President at the time when they attempted to have the war on poverty was Lyndon Johnson. Also is the same president many remember who would say
Thank you.
who made a very bombastic statement
So,
about how
you met famous
you can keep the
people.
black vote in your pocket. I don't remember the exact quote, but
Okay.
it was
Kev,
this
can you
quote is
please
attributed to
explain
Lyndon
to me
Johnson
the difference
of how
between
the
being
black vote
a
will be
union worker
dedicated to the Democratic Party.
versus just
Why
not?
would one
Like,
nationality
what are
or
the
race of
benefits
people
of
be
being
dedicated to one party?
unionized as a,
Well, I
Ninjas
mean,
is
I was a union
cheap,
representative, like
maybe,
your friend
maybe.
Sampson for a long time.
But
Yes.
regardless.
No, I'm not. I'm talking about.
And the
in
mayor in the
acting,
1970s was
in the,
Mayor Tom
For
Bradley,
them,
Yeah.
for them,
who was
for them,
facing increasing
some of
pressure
them,
to
like, for the
address the issue.
schools and everything, the
Businesses
schools
didn't want to
set up,
come down there.
They guarantee work.
Businesses
and
didn't
then
want
the
to come
first you
down
get
there,
chosen.
understand them, because
Like,
the
they
area
all
was a blight
permanent.
on,
They get, you know, they get certain
blight on the
benefits and
eyes,
stuff
bro.
like that. You know, they
how
can't
do
just
they
terminate
apply
But
for it?
not to
I
harp
guess
just
that's what
on
I'm
the
trying to ask.
negatives
Like, how do
I don't
that
know.
we're seeing
I'm gonna have
here
to ask one of them, 'cause
in Los Angeles, Skid Row. We want to also too give our flowers to some people who are making a change in their community in one way or another in the way that they can. And again, I mentioned their names earlier. First off, rest in peace to Mr. Jeff Page, General Jeff Page. And I'll end it off with Miss Shirley. But let's take a look at Mr. General Jeff Page and his life. How do you breathe life into a neighborhood that has been forgotten? As the unofficial mayor of Skid Row, activist General Jeff Page fights for his neighbors to have a voice in the governings of their community. What was it that Jeff did? I think Jeff also played basketball. Okay. I want to highlight some of the work that Jeff did in his community too. Okay, here another picture of Skid Row in downtown Los Angeles, the city's largest concentration of homeless people who regularly live on the sidewalks in tents and cardboard boxes. Give me 1 second.
And the reason I asked that is because I was looking at a commentary about Hattie McDaniel. She was going over a documentary. She was reviewing a documentary in a way that's, kind of colorful and entertaining. However, she gave some interesting information about how her joining the union, and I'm trying to figure, I think it's the SAG, not the SAG, it's something.
Well, a SAG, I'm not. SAG is when a SAG card is when you actually had a speaking role in the movie.
Yeah, so
Then
right.
you earn
So
that
things
card.
changed for her when she got that SAG card, but
Right.
what
Then
wasn't
she can apply.
explained was how a person gets a SAG card.
Right. Well, it's when you get into a speaking role or some kind of special movement in the movie. That means you spoke in a film. You also get credit, like your name
Right.
actually show up as a
That's
credit.
when her life changed after
Right.
she got the SAG card. Her name was actually featured in a credit. It was no longer the Mammy
Back up. Yeah. It
number
wasn't
one
the
and
back
number
end.
two. It was
Right.
actually featuring her name, and that's when
Right.
things started,
And so that goes on her
elevating
resume
her.
because she could say she was in this particular movie, which means you got experience. So if I say I did stand in for uh, Mike Tyson, Ralph Angel, in
Exactly. It's a
Hollywood.
certain.
All right, we back. Realize again, I got to keep checking here down on the bottom. I had the sound still on from the Discord. Let me double check that out. Let me just double checking. Double checking on the sound. Oh, I had it muted. Yeah, if I did, yeah, it's great. If I did, that's great. I didn't have that. All right. All right. Now, Mr. Jeff. As General Jeff, an experienced basketball player, nailed jump shots and retrieved bounceless rebounds under the basket, homeless guys sprawled under the shady Queen Palms and California sycamores dodging the heat. When he took a break, a squat elderly man waved him over. General Jeff thought he knew the guy, an old-timer, Manuel Benito Campito, known as OG Man on the streets. From beneath OG's grand mustache came a gravelly voice. Hey man, I want you to help me start this basketball league. General Jeff swiveled, looking for eager players, but the vagrant men on the sidelines were mostly gabbing or shuffling through their stuff. I've only been on Skid Row a few months, he explained. I'm not sure I want to be involved, he said and left. After more pestering, General Jeff, whose name he says refers to his willingness to tackle any problem like high-ranking military commanders do, gave in to OG's requests. Over the course of a decade, he'd take on more projects in the community, fixing streetlights, cleaning up trash, painting murals, setting up chess clubs and art collectives, and fighting for a seat on the downtown Los Angeles Neighborhood Council. People started calling him the unofficial mayor of Skid Row. So the gentleman actually became a member of the neighborhood council, actually with actual political power, actual political backing behind him. Gotcha. From that shoddy basketball court, he and OG launched the positive movement, a paradigm shift asking Skid Row residents to reclaim their section of the city as a functioning neighborhood, rather than a containment zone. By offering more activities, the positive movement provides alternatives to drugs and other undesirable activities. In the process, as residents help themselves, the movement undoes the negative images of substance abuse that have tainted the area. As part of the initiative, next spring, Skid Row residents will ask their fellow downtown citizens to recognize the neighborhood as its own space. With this change in status, citizens will be able to make planning and land use decisions, such as preserving low-income housing from developers, advising city leaders on public transportation, and policing and distributing a small coffer of funds for community projects. If downtown residents approve the change, the vote would mark the first time the city has recognized Skid Row as a unique neighborhood, rather than its unofficial status as a dumping ground for lost souls that don't belong elsewhere in Los Angeles. So, General Jeff came to Skid Row from another notorious LA neighborhood, South Central, a place known for its race riots and gang violence. A rap producer who once worked with Ice Cube and Snoop Dogg, writing, producing, mixing, rapping, DJing, pop, lock, and dancing, General Jeff says, "You name it, I've done it." After traveling the world, he returned to South Central to organize community members to end gun violence, but ran into difficulties getting them to the table and gave up hope. When the bills started to mount, he gave up his place, stuffed a wad of cash in his sock, and started sleeping on the street, finding shelter in warehouses and cooking food with heat lamps. When he moved to Skid Row, he carried 2 suitcases, one full of clothes, the other containing a drum set, his last tied to his former life. "I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know why I'm here. There's no blueprint or degree or beacon of light," he recalls. The drum machine, that was reality. He spent a few nights in the park, then at a mission, where men slept in gigantic dorms with no privacy, before ending up in a single occupancy room, a type of housing for low-income individuals, where to save on rent, they live alone in a tiny residence, often with a shared kitchen or bathroom, and one of the district's many hotels, and meeting OG in Gladys Park. And after the Vietnam War, servicemen flooded downtown, taking up residence in Skid Row's dilapidated hotels, using cheap liquor and drugs to obliterate the memories of battle. As we was reading earlier too, from some of the history of Skid Row. And from that point on, through the crack epidemic in the 1990s, chronic homelessness on Skid Row has been associated with substance abuse and recovery. A 1970 book, Stations of the Lost, The Treatment of Skid Row Alcoholics, found that most of the neighborhood's homeless only spent 1/3 of the year without a roof over their heads. The rest of the time, they shuffled through jails, mental hospitals, rehab, and the missions before landing back on the streets. 45 years later, not much has changed, says OG. You go to Union Rescue Mission and spend some nights there. You relapse, then you go to the LA Mission. You relapse, then the Midnight Mission. We were looking at the Midnight Mission there on a what was that street? San Julian and 6, I believe. Yeah. You keep going next door, he explains. That cycle reveals itself in LA's extremely high percentage of chronically homeless individuals. About 15% of all the city's unsheltered have been on the streets for more than a year or several times over 3 years. While there's no data available on why this population remains homeless, it can be assumed that drugs and alcohol continue to play a role. I couldn't believe what I was seeing when homeless woman from Las Vegas tells the LA Times in 2005. When 3 people died of an overdose on the same day, people getting high on the streets like it was illegal. In Skid Row especially, temptation's always around the corner. Many of their shelters let men out of the large dorms at 5 a.m., and some prevent them from re-entering until evening intake. With few constructive activities in the area, grabbing a beer might suddenly sound like an attractive way to pass the time during non-work hours. Add to that the armies of drug dealers and liquor store owners who profit at users' expense. One infamous profiteer, Recondale Ricky Wesco, is said to set up his beer cart outside rehab centers and hawk tall boys for just $2. Undeterred by more than 50 arrests. General Jeff feels that the infrastructure of Skid Row itself is designed for people to fail, making the positive movements outlets like basketball, chess, visual and dramatic art so crucial to the neighborhood to provide a better way for residents to occupy their time. General Jeff helped get the mural in the background installed on Skid Row's San Julian Street. Photo by Ted Soki for Nation Sewell. Yeah, so I guess I was on the right street looking at San Julian, because that's the area where it goes down, seems like. Up. Battery change, ladies and gentlemen, battery change. Time for a battery change. Every time I gotta change the battery, gotta adjust. Gotta adjust the clarity. There we go. Let me double check on these folks over here. Did they end the Zoom? I gotta double check. Did they end the shit? Oh, yep, they did. Yep, they did. What? Anyway. Back to the subject at hand. Mic check, mic check. double check. That cycle reveals itself in LA's extremely high percentage. What's going on here? What's going on? What's going on? Why everything moving so slow on my phone? What's up? Talk to me nice. Everything moving slow on my phone. Talk to me nice. What's going on? Need to check my stream. Talk to me nice. Oh, what the fuck, boy? Yeah, okay. There we go. Talk to me nice. Oh, what the fuck, boy? Yeah, all right. We Gucci. We Gucci. We Gucci. Gotta make sure, you know? Gotta make sure. We've already had so many audio issues this morning. Just want to make sure everything is copacetic and proper. You know, there was so many issues already that we started off this thing with. So, make sure we good to go. We good to go. All right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. New shoes on the ride. Left shirt. Yes, sir. Hung and fine. Yes, sir. You ain't gotta make love. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your body. Your body. New shoes on the ride. Yes, sir. So, yes, back to where. Concerning General Jeff Page, or aka Jeff Page, aka General Jeff Page, community activist and neighborhood council person for Los Angeles Central East Ward. He was focused on helping residents find a better way for them to occupy their free time when they were not inside the shelters. As soon as these groups got off the ground, the basketball players asked for whistles, scoreboards, and uniforms, and photography club wondering if they can afford an extra camera. So, across Los Angeles, 96 elected neighborhood councils, which can range from 7 to 30 members per board, are each allocated $42,000 by Empower LA, a city-funded umbrella organization. It don't even sound right just listening to that. All right, I'm gonna take a look at that. It don't even sound right. Umbrella organization. And then I give it this though. People who do, community activism and getting involved with their neighborhood council, it is something. It's something. But sometimes it seems like they're not doing nothing. Because again, the funding doesn't seem to go unless you really can move and convince people that it goes where it needs to be going. But this is not all. It's not all encompassing. This gentleman definitely seemed like he had his heart in the right place. So, General Jeff heard that the Education Committee of the council that oversees Skid Row, the Downtown Los Angeles Neighborhood Council, DLANG, pronounced D-Link, would be willing to help fund the Positive Movements operation. So he simply added an educational component to the basketball league. The team would discuss various concepts like teamwork, family, and punctuality before tip-off. Pretty soon, the team sported jerseys emblazoned with Skid Row Streetball League. And the camera club had 10 new digital cameras and an exhibition timed with the downtown art walk. When General Jeff returned to D-Link a few weeks later to thank the council for the funds, a board member asked why the name Skid Row was printed on the jerseys. The elected official was ashamed of the name, painting it as a blight on downtown. General Jeff recalls of the tense meeting, stating that players were proud to wear the community's name on their chest. General Jeff argued that if Skid Row didn't own up to its reputation, it would be easy for the rest of the city to forget about the homeless after all. He's seen it happen before. In 2003, South Central was renamed South Los Angeles. The rebranding effort scrubbed away the images of gang violence associated with the name. A boon to the developers hoping for growth, but a blow to activists wanting to launch a public relations campaign, highlighting old issues that persisted on the new map. After the meeting ended, General Jeff found out the angry board members was, in fact, his representative for Central City East, the preferred name for Skid Row among developers and bureaucrats. General Jeff had never considered a career in politics before, but wanting the position of D-Link, General Jeff ran against him and won in a landslide in 2008, capturing more than half the votes in a four-way race. From his new position, General Jeff highlighted his neighbors' concerns. Unlike elsewhere, city maintenance rarely happened in Skid Row. Street lights burnt out or were shattered by drug dealers seeking a cover of darkness, or weren't replaced. Garbage and feces littered the gutters because trash cans and public restrooms in the area were limited out of concern they would become sites for drug use or trafficking. Hold up, they did what? Garbage and feces littered because trash public restrooms are in the area are limited out of concern. Oh yes. Trash cans and public restrooms in the area were limited out of concern. They become sites of drug use or trafficking. General Jeff started a cleaning force to pick up trash and made a map of broken street lights. His most significant battle on D-Link erupted in 2014 when a non-profit developer wanted to bring in a restaurant with a liquor license on the ground floor of a permanent supportive housing unit that hosts recovery programs and addict support groups. That is just so contradictory. You're making it very easy for people who are there getting treatment for addiction and alcoholism, and you want to serve liquor right on the bottom floor. Again, it goes to show you though, the dollar is the bottom line when it comes to almost everything, bro. And that's fucking sick and sad. Recovery programs and addict programs support groups. D-Link board members worried about the impact of pouring drinks around residents with histories of substance abuse and steady encroachment of gentrification into the area's borders fought back. The Skid Row community largely won the fight, but General Jeff lost any goodwill with downtown business owners in the process. All of General Jeff's work for the past 10 years started to unravel last spring. He lost his post on D-Link to a newcomer. He seemed disillusioned with the system. After homeless counts of Skid Row residents hovering nearly around 39,000 for several years, the number suddenly spiked to 44,359 people. Charities and public services strained to meet the need, but with no new housing lined up, a long-term solution wasn't readily available. Meanwhile, police relations, historically turbulent, frayed even further as law enforcement continued to crack down on residents. Since the launch of the Safer Cities Initiative in September 2006, the program piloted in 2005. Cops have begun to break up sidewalk encampments and issue tickets for minor infractions. Based on former police chief Bill Bratton's theory of broken windows, combating minor quality of life crimes like vandalism or public drinking as a way to keep order in urban areas and deter more serious crimes. Law enforcement wrote 1,000 citations for jaywalking and loitering every month. During the program's first year, according to an independent UCLA study, General Jeff had been arrested for loitering in 2013 but successfully fought the case at trial and avoided a conviction. A related charge of resisting arrest, however, resulted in a sentence of 20 days of community service. Tensions came to a head in March 2015 when police approached Charlie Landu Kune, a 43-year-old Cameroon national living on Skid Row, known to his friends as Africa, and tried to take him into custody for a suspected robbery. Kunang, mentally ill and high off meth at the time, reached for the gun in an officer's holster. After a brief scuffle, 6 shots were fired, hitting Kunang in the chest, torso, and left arm. Bystanders captured his death on camera, and it was viewed millions of times on Facebook. Skid Row might have looked safer to outsiders, but it didn't feel that way to its residents. This is a very long story on the brother. I mean, almost totally to the end of it. But what was also noted with this story over here with this brother General Jeff is that he did pass away. He did pass away. His last tweet was October 3rd, 2021. As you can see, we're several months now removed from that. Yep. He died around around October. Had to be. DTLA mourns the death of Skid Row community advocate and West Coast hip hop legend General Jeff Page. So he passed. Around what time was this story published? You can't see exactly when the story was published here, but or even the exact data is passing in this story. So it's looking obituary, General Jeff Page obituary. He died in October, obviously, because his last post was October. Skid Row has lost a beloved community leader and activist with the passing of General Jeff Page, who passed away on October 21st, 2021 due to heart issues. General Jeff, whose name refers to his willingness to tackle any problems. Yep. Right. We did see all that. How old? The only thing I'm curious is they said heart complications, but what was his age? He was 56. 56. 56 years old. I'm not gonna necessarily tie it in with other people, but people do like to be very disrespectful. People like to be disrespectful of the passing or in death of certain people that they disagree with, whatever the case may be. Talking about how certain individuals don't seem to take care of themselves. I'm not gonna highlight any racial group, but it seems like that is a disrespect thrown at gentlemen like Jeff Page for his skin tone, that you gentlemen like of that color and ilk do not take care of your health. This is why you need a woman, maybe, but still the disrespect in that saying, even people saying that, is there. And he died at a similar age of heart complications as another gentleman that passed recently at the age of about 53. So can it happen? Yes, gentlemen. All I'm saying is, gentlemen, take care of yourself. Exercise is probably definitely your best friend. And as you start reaching them 50s, man, you can see these things happen. We don't know. All they're saying is heart complications, which is crazy in of itself to me. To me. He suffered a stroke and heart problems. Damn. So rest in peace, General Jeff. Most definitely. We up that on that. But on a lighter note, I want to introduce you to CNN's 2021 CNN Hero of the Year. I want to introduce you to CNN's 2021 Person of the Year. Yeah. Let me make sure that I got sound for this. Yeah, I think I got sound for this. Do I got sound for this?
The 2021 CNN Hero of the Year is
Shirley Raines.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I want to thank the amazing 9 honorees I've been with. This journey has not been easy. I stand before you today, a very broken woman. My life will never be the same since my son died. But it's important that you know that broken people are still very much useful. We are very much useful. I want to thank my team once again. I want to thank Perry Meeks Design for the fit, because it's sparkling, baby, it's sparkling. I want to thank my twin sister, Sheila, for her support, and my 5 amazing living children, Danielle, Rashawn, Dalvion, Makasia, and Micah. You saved my life. And to my angel baby boy, I would rather have him back than anything in the world. But I am a mother without a son, and there are a lot of people in the street that are without a mother, and I feel like it's a fair exchange. I'm here for them. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Salute to Miss Shirley. Because who is Miss Shirley Raines? Who is Miss Shirley Raines? Well, let's bring it on up. Let's bring this on up here. Huh. Oh, oh, oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Who is Miss Shirley Raines? Who is Miss Shirley Raines? This here story is brought to you from the issue. This was brought to my attention from which issue of Cosmo was this? I'll show y'all the cover just since I took the time to scan the cover. Why not? I mean, why not? I took the time. I took the time. I took the time. So why not? I took the time. This comes to you from issue number, I don't know what number, of Cosmo. Why I got Cosmo? My downstairs neighbor moved. They used to get a subscription. It still comes to the house. Hey, so this is how Miss Shirley Raines was brought to my attention. And like I said, we want to give people their flowers while they're still here. Fortunately, General Jeff, Mr. Jeff Page, he passed on. Salute to him and his family, and hopefully, it's getting easier day by day. But the brother was definitely integral in his community. He wanted to make a change. And Miss Shirley Raines is also another one of those people wanting to make a change in her community. And her story came to me through Cosmo. And why everyone should have access to self-care. For homeless people, looking good and feeling good can make a big impact. Shirley Raines explains. She says, after the death of my young son in 1990, I was alive but lifeless and desperately searching for a way out of my pain. Anyone who lives with depression knows that when you're at your darkest, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is simply take a shower. Once I got to the point where I commit to that small but radical act, it became a ritual. For the brief time I spent each day loving my body, I was able to feel like me for a second. My immeasurable sadness felt a little less heavy. Over the years, my ritual expanded to include adventurous hairstyles, colorful manicures, and full-on makeup obsession. I was still a very broken woman, but when I focused on self-care, on making myself look good, I felt good. In an effort to make purpose of my pain, I began volunteering with a local homeless outreach group on Skid Row, an area of downtown Los Angeles with a large homeless population. As I handed out meals, the women would comment on how much they loved my hair and makeup. During one conversation, a trans woman told me she's been wearing the same false eyelashes for weeks. She just didn't feel like her best self without her beauty rituals. So she made do with what she had. In that moment, I recognized that people on the streets had an important need that extends beyond the obvious food and clothes and shelter. That most outreach groups were missing it. I didn't know how to end homelessness or heal trauma, but I did know that beauty routines, however small, can help create brightness in brokenness. It became my mission to bring that to as many people on the street as I could. Armed with all the makeup I could afford to buy with my Sephora points, camping showers I purchased on Amazon, and bags of hot water, I spent all night heating in my stove. I returned to Skid Row, and suddenly, my nonprofit Beauty to the Streets was born. I became the makeup lady who passed out essentials like food and clothing, but also gave warm showers, hair treatments, and sidewalk makeovers. I watched people come to me worn and hardened and leave with light in their eyes. I was seeing the healing properties of self-care. The same ones that had helped me in action for so many others. I started sharing my work on social media to get support from friends and family, and very rapidly and unexpectedly, I had a global community of online supporters. While some questioned why homeless people would need beauty products and services, the vast majority understood instantly. Self-care can help soften the pain that comes from lacking the more urgent things. And if a haircut allows someone to take a break from surviving and be present in an act of self-love, then it is an essential need. I didn't know how to end homelessness, but I did know that beauty routines, however small, can help create brightness in broken homes. How do you breathe breath back breathe life back into someone so wounded with trauma and stress that they're more zombie than human? It starts by creating space for them just to feel good. For the few hours my Beauty to the Streets team and our volunteers are on Skid Row each week, there's a little more life and love out there. There's makeovers and music, hugs and haircuts, smiles and celebration, and of course, fresh pairs of lashes. Shout out to Miss Shirley. For those of y'all looking for her Instagram, if you want to go also and support there, y'all know how these little shits work. You can scan this right here on your screen, or just search up Beauty to the Streets on IG and give her a follow. She's already at about 200K, I believe about 200K followers on IG. Yeah. So let's take a look at her Instagram. This is the Instagram from Miss Shirley Raines, Beauty to the Streets. Yeah, about 257K. Okay. And let's scroll in a little bit. And she got t-shirts here. Got Ahmaud Arbery and so on and so forth. I wonder, she got Jeff Page on there? I wonder. Probably not. There was a video that I played earlier. I seen this shit.
Why would I just hand random bags out? Why would I just hand random bags out to people? Do you go to a restaurant wanting the waiter just to bring you a random fucking order? Or do you sit down and wait for a menu to be brought to you? Do you sit down and wait for your choices? Who wants random anything? You know, even at a baby shower or an event, there's always a mystery bag, and nobody wants the fucking mystery bag. You know why? Because people want to choose their own shit. Nobody wants the fucking mystery box. They didn't want it on The Price is Right. They don't want it on game shows. Everybody wants to make a choice, no matter who you are. Nobody wants a fucking mystery box. We live in a world where we can always find out beforehand. So why would anyone want anything random in a world where there are answers? Okay? There's that. Now, this is Skid Row, California. We're going to let them make their choices, even if it exceeds the budget. Such are the plans of man, but God's plans prevail. It's one of those days we're going to be overtime, and there's nothing we can do about it, but eat it. Eat it and feed the people, okay? I have to fucking figure it out. I might have to start an OnlyFans page and wiggle my toes, huh? He should have stopped at that last person when I told him.
All right. And anybody who is also in her area in California and you have that type of inclination, it ain't in everybody. And it don't feel bad if it's not you. It's probably not me either. But for those that are in that area of California, she has here, text our volunteer coordinator, Sydney, if you're interested. She has a number. Must be available to serve Saturdays between 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. in Los Angeles, California. There you go. Help out. I like the glasses. I like these glasses right here. They spunky. They sporty. Creative glasses. Them glasses very creative. I like them. More videos, anything that catch the eye. She was the parade grand marshal. She will be the parade grand marshal. There you go. In July? Oh. Long Beach, they do things different out there in California with their pride parades. Here the people at work. There we go. There we want to see the people working. Okay. All right. Yeah, when you braid hair, you got to get up in there. Ain't no gloves. When you get braiding hair, you got to get right up all up in there, baby. Ain't no wearing gloves. Yeah. So yeah, you say that is definitely a labor of love. Because you doing cornrows, bitch. You doing cornrows. You getting up all up in there. What up, sugar? I ain't even see you climb on in there. Yeah, and the problem in California is something else. It really is something else in that little section. I mean, not only San Francisco with a heavy homelessness issue, but Los Angeles as well. I mean, nationwide, our homelessness crisis is crazy. But where you have a large concentration of people, it's also likely that they're gonna be a large population of homeless as well. And since you're here, I'm gonna drop the wrench on your head. You know what I mean? Cause you cool peoples. You're cool peoples. You're cool peoples by me. If you're still there, you still there though, sugar. You go, sugar. All right. Let me see. There we go. There we go. All right. There you go, Shug. Nah. We get back to Any more work photos you have there? Yeah, she flexing. She flexing over here. With her green braids in. I see it with your green braids in. What's this one here about right here? Let's see.
Good morning, King. Where your bag? No, if you was in line, you would have got a bag. I was in line. He didn't got no bag.
Oh.
Next with a bag, because it's too soon to not have a bag. Nope. It would have been too soon. It's too soon not to have a bag. So you wasn't in line because it's too soon. You would have had one. I watched her pass everyone in that line a bag out. Everyone in that line. Back up, queen. No, it's too soon for that. Come on. Come around. Come around. Uh-oh, my security about to mace somebody, bitch. Hold on. No, hold on, queen. Hold on, queen. Queen, go back over there for a second. Go back over there. Go back over there. Not there, queen. This way. This way. Go this way. Go this way. Go this way. This way. Get out the way, Siggy. Get her out the way. Get her out the way.
Just stand right here, okay?
So she said here in this, while she was there that day, this was May 4th, not too long ago. Someone pulled a knife on Cherish. Security did their thing. Somebody helped. Appreciate, but others make it hard. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy. That's crazy. But anyway. Oh, they had the food going that day. Look at that. That's a beautiful thing to see though, right there. Though. That's what I like to see that. Hold up. That's my baby. That's my baby, old strong chin ass.
But we need so many things. So how are you much they joy?
I'm donating the roses.
Mm-hmm.
You're welcome. From Old Vine Roses, which is a black-owned florist here in downtown LA. Shout out to Itika. So they'll be dropping off.
And if y'all ain't, Joy Taylor is mixed, yes, multicultural. Her brother is Jason Taylor, Hall of Fame defensive end football player from the Miami Dolphins. You see Jason Taylor, they look, you can tell, they look just damn near like. Matter of fact, I'm going to help y'all. I'm going to help y'all understand who Jason Taylor is. For those of y'all that don't know, that is Joy Taylor you were looking at. That is Joy Taylor you were looking at. This is her bro. This is her bro. The boy looked like powder somewhat on his Boris Cujo. He is a Hall of Famer. Boy was solid. Boy was solid. I mean, I play with the Dolphins whenever they play Madden and play with the Dolphins. At least you know he was going to get a sack. The boy's solid. They're them. They're them. There they go. I'm sure somebody's going to say, though, that, yeah, he messed with the white girl. So, you know, throw him away. Throw him in the trash because he messed with the white girl. But he ain't too far from white this damn self, so. You know, I'm just saying. But anyway, besides the point, this is Jason Taylor. That lady you just saw, what you have there again, that was her. Handing out the tuckies. Handing out the tuckies. Or handing out the food on Mother's Day and the flowers was Joy Taylor. Leave my baby alone. Leave my baby alone. Leave my baby, 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 leave my baby.
How are you going to be helping us, Joy? So I put a call out, a shout out for Mother's Day.
Yeah.
So estheticians and nails.
Here they go again, getting their hair done.
And then we have. Hey, Ladybug! Hi, baby. How you doing? Yo, you want some food, honey? Okay, come on. Let's get you something to eat, honey. And then we have a little. Huh? And then we got my little kids here that came to visit. Oh, you look so cute in your mask. Let me see, Mama. Oh, so beautiful, queen. Such a pretty queen. Such a beautiful queen, my love, my love. Let me see yours. Come on, girl. Stylish. That goes with your outfit. You okay? Okay. Floss on them. Floss. Come on. Let me see y'all queens together. Let me see y'all queens together. Get in together. Let me see y'all. Oh, too cute. Too cute, mamas. Too cute. You better floss on them, queens. Okay. Listen, they are too cute. Okay. Adorable. Oh, Ladybug, come on. Get some food, baby. I'm supposed to be getting Ladybug a plate. And so then they making food over here. We had chicken and Ladybug here, y'all. Barbecue chicken sandwiches with cheese, lettuce, tomatoes, potato salad, and baby carrots. Smells so good. Doesn't it?
I have one for my sister, Mocha, one that came last time. She needs a wave, but she's high. She won't come.
She need a wig. Well, she need to be unhigh. When she's not high, and she can come get her own wig when she's not high.
She's on weed, medicated, because her man got locked up, so she's crying.
Well, if every time my man got locked up, I cried and got on weed. You're so cute. You tried it, huh? You tried it. It is what you tried.
Her name is Baby D, and she's Canaan's little dog.
Yeah, well, when she's unhigh, have her come back and get a wig. We'll help her out.
You guys have Black Island?
Black Island? We have no makeup today, my love, my love.
Really? Dang, you guys are my favorite.
We're your favorite?
Yeah,
you're my favorite too, Ladybug. I love you very, very much.
No, I'm from Skid Row. I've been here 1 year, no fix.
1 year?
1 year.
Okay, well, get the hell out of here. Ladybug, you've been here way more than a year. I've been here. Lady, what the fuck? Don't do me. I'm like, wait a minute. I've been here for 6 years. Huh? You got a phone now?
1 year off the grid, now I got a phone.
1 year off the grid, and now you have a phone.
They gave me a phone.
Oh, excuse me. Ladybug, don't fuck it up.
I'm trying to run game. Trying to run game. And then you want to be nice to people too. But you know, everybody be running G. Everybody be running their game. I mean, you know, you be trying to be nice to people. But, you know, so is life. So is life. Now, there was not much more besides that article that I got on Miss Shirley Raines. You know. But this again here is her social media. If anybody wants to go and check the lady out, most def, y'all can go do that. I'm going to hold it up and chop it around here. I want to say thank you to everyone that piped their head in, dropped a little message in the chat, helped me figure out my audio issues that I was having in the beginning. Thank you to Sock Passe, Sugar Bum, HBIC, Room Shaker for stepping their head in. Everybody else that subscribed to me. And if you're brand new, please hit the subscribe button to me. And drop a like on the video as well. If you like the content, it'll be more diversification coming up. Man, I appreciate y'all once again. Hey, I'll be back at you. But we going out live.
Oh, it's good. Mm-hmm.